What does all this mean? We are going to talk about it and what we've been doing up here. And see behind me, back in this corner back here, guess what? We're going to talk about it here on Model Railroad Talk. So stick around. Howdy, folks. It is I, your host of Model Railroad Talk, back with a video. Yeah, it's been a few weeks. Been busy between work and get home from work and working a little bit on the railroad and trying to get things figured out. And so to start off, we showed you in the intro our yard, our last little bit of our yard here. As you can see, up to this point, well, I guess technically up to this point back here, and right here, but track is laid. I've been trying to find flex track, Atlas Code 83 for a reasonable price, and unfortunately, the hobby shops that are near me, within, like by me down at work and here in the Quad Cities, they don't carry Code 83 flex track. I've tried getting another source of it. I do have a source, but I have to do a huge minimum order, and that just doesn't work for my budget right now. But I did find some, and I feel a fairly good deal on it, and I'm kind of excited because it's microengineering flex track Code 83 for HO scale, if you're wondering. If you're new to the hobby, we'll talk about codes here in another video or on one of our audio podcasts. But I got some ordered, and where I got it ordered from, I was able to get by signing up with my email and phone number. Unfortunately, places like that now, they want all that so they can contact you every single way. Micromark. I started looking because, looking on eBay and Amazon and not having any place close by, even the hobby shop down there by in the city my full-time job is, they all claim they carry model train stuff, but they don't carry Code 83 flex track. They carry Code 100 and they carry Code 83 sectional track and turnouts. So I don't understand why they don't carry flex track in Code 83. But anyways, so I found some microengineering, which I was excited about, through Micromark, and signed up with their email and got free shipping. So I ended up ordering, they were selling the Micromark microengineering. And this is what kills me. Their standard non-weathered flex track, they were out of. But the weathered stuff they had, okay. The non-weathered was for a 6-pack, like 6 pieces of flex track, was like, for the non-weathered was like $5 more for the 6-pack. The weathered, it was less expensive. So I don't get that. But I'm excited about it because when I originally started the Iowa Eastern Railroad, I wanted to go microengineering or a finer scale detail track, but it wasn't in the budget. So I went with Atlas Code 83. Well, and then thinking like with, I don't have any now because they've all been used. The fast tracks turnouts, because they're a better, higher prototypical, if you will, finer detail, just overall a better turnout. And since I started doing those, in the yard, I've got some standard Atlas turnouts because I still have a few. I'm going to use them. But as time goes on and I have to replace, like I can't tweak them anymore, I have to replace them. I'm actually going to have Randy D, the one guy that's built my turnouts, my Fast Tracks turnouts for me, I'm just going to start placing orders with him of, you know, hey, give me 2 left hands, 2 right hand, number 6, or this or that. Okay. And just start replacing track as it goes bad or needs fixing with the better stuff. So I'm excited. I have 12 pieces of microengineering code 83 flex track coming, and I'm almost positive with that amount I should be able to get my yard finished up here. And I'll show you here in a little bit. I have another place that I took out a piece of track. Basically, it was a crossover. It was on the lower level. I believe I've explained that. I've said in previous videos that I'm going to be adjusting other places. Well, I've already kind of started that, so we'll show you that here a little bit later. And in another spot, I had to make, in a sense, what I'm calling a stubby crossover out of 2 turnouts, which means I had to really cut down the diverging route leg and some tricky soldering or cutting and soldering, but I got it done, and I'll show you that after bits. So we'll start with some of the updates. So we're going over here, and this is on the lower level here. And mind you, please bear with me. I am holding or attempting to hold my tablet, but we're setting it down now. Let me get some of this out of the way. Right now, it's being kind of used as, you'll see right back here, you'll see right here, I've got some paperwork up here for the railroad. But over here, so this is the inside. So as it leaves Egremont Yard, it comes through this track, makes a loop around to the other side, and then it eventually ends up over here on this track and goes around. Well, when I originally designed this, I put a turnout here for a crossover in between for continuous run. Well, as you can see, I've already ripped out the track. I need to go in and cut out the roadbed. But eventually, I'm taking this turnout out and this one out and just straight tracking it in there. And the reason being is I don't need that crossover anymore. It doesn't fit in operationally. It's just 2 extra spots that is giving the opportunities for derailments and stuff like that. And let's face it, I don't care how good turnouts are and everything. I mean, you can have the best turnouts in the world. Eventually, you're going to have a car or two want to derail, whether the track gets out of gauge or it starts wearing down from use, or same with the car wheels, that kind of thing. If you have one that maybe you haven't gauged the wheels in a while, every time there's a turnout, there is presents an opportunity for derailment a little bit higher. So that's part of the reason, but also I'm trying to isolate easy routes, if you will. When I put them in, some of these, in a sense, turnouts, crossovers, because I got one that's right back over here that I'm going to take out as well and just straight track through. When I originally put it in, my plans were a little bit different. And then as time went on, which happens when building a model railroad, I realized I don't need them in there. I don't want them in there for operational sake. And for display sake, I have provisions, turnouts, whatever you want to call it, in place for that. So that's the first update. Where I'm at with that, I'm waiting on the microengineering track to come in. I'm going to get my yard done first, and hopefully I have a few extra pieces. If not, I'll order another 6-pack from them. And I know darn well that's going to give me enough track and have some spare, but that's the first update. All right. Our second update, which is on the lower level, is back here. Okay. After the train takes off from Egremont Yard, and it goes around and makes its loop right on the inside one, which, if you remember from just a few seconds ago when I showed you where I took out that section, the inside track, it goes around on that. Well, when it comes around after it's making its final pass through, whatever you want to call it, and gets around, it'll actually start climbing to the upper level. It would come in on this track right here, and I'll zoom in here. So this track here is the one it goes out on, and then this is the one that it comes in and makes its final pass. All the way down there, and we'll flip this. Oh, I guess, sorry about that. All the way down here, I do have a turnout, which goes into this back lead, which goes all the way down here. Before, there was not a crossover or turnout or nothing in here. There was one here, which goes off back here, which originally was going to be an interchange track. Then it was going to be an industry. Then I'm not sure. I'm still not sure what it's going to be. But that also feeds my 2 tracks back here. Well, here's the issue. And this isn't just because I want to run my railroad like a real railroad and for operations that we've been talking a lot about on the audio podcast recently. While yes, it's some of that, but when you were going out of town and you were making your final little lap before you started the ascent to get to the upper level, that was the only way to get in here and access this, and which I'm fine with to some degree. However, as I got thinking about my operations, okay, so I'm going to have the Egremont Yard, so that on lower level there's going to be the Egremont Yard job. There's going to be the Egremont local job, which will come out of the yard and switch like behind here. I'm thinking that's still going to be MA Metalworks, but I'm not sure yet. It may be my Sea Shield Milling Company. I'm not 100% sure yet. But anyways, they'll switch that. And then I've got the other spur that is over where I first showed you where I took out some track. There's a spur over there. It'd do that. But then it would also take the trip all the way around to what I call it. So this is East Egremont. This is actually West Egremont on this track. When it comes into this area back around the corner over there, that becomes West Egremont. Well, the local will switch that. Well, coming in, okay, fine, it can go down and everything and come and switch. But the problem is that's an awful long ways, and real railroads would not push several cars. They'll push cars in and out a little bit of a distance, like a few cars, but they're not going to push a string of, say, 10 or 15 cars the distance of what, and I know this isn't scale miles even, but what I'm trying to represent, maybe 8 miles, 5 miles. They're not going to push 8 to 10 cars or more that far, pushing them, right? So they're going to want to run around. Well, I didn't have a runaround. Well, that's where I came up. I decided to put in a crossover here. So now between the main line, from the main line, I now have a siding. So the local, this would be the farthest the Egremont local would go down or pull in, switch them out and everything, and go down, run around the track, come hook up and make its way back around over to Egremont Yard and then do whatever else it does. The problem is when I originally laid this track down, I laid the track at what I basically at minimum distance between the track. So there's enough space between the track that they're not going to hit or anything like that. It's not unprototypical because I looked up and the track spacing between the main line and now the siding is still prototypical. However, for the turnouts I had, they were it wasn't going to work because the way the diverging route was, it was long. And if I went just end to end on the regular Atlas turnouts, it would have, your parallel tracks, they would have had to be farther apart, and I couldn't do that. So I needed them closer. So, I know these are left-hand turnouts, but to give you an idea, so if I would have put my crossover just end to end like this, okay, the through track on both sides would have been too far apart. So what I ended up having to do was move them in, okay, which they ended up being about roughly like that to get the proper spacing. And I measured outside rail to outside rail, made a template, laid it down, marked them. I ended up cutting out the track. One was about here and the other one was farther forward on both sides to try to make it even. And on both pieces, put them together, measured, all that good stuff. And somehow on the first shot, I got it. Could I do it again? Probably, but I don't claim to be an expert at anything. But I was excited that I got it done in the first shot, really. So once I did that, basically I cut out the ties that I needed to get these together, put them together, soldered them, and then I brought it over, verified again that the spacing between the tracks was correct. And once I did that, then I went in, filled in the ties that I had to cut out. And sitting here looking at it, you really can't tell that I cut out any ties because the ties actually lined up just right. So I'm excited about that. I do need to get some switch machines for these. That's the thing that sucks. I got to put some nails in temporarily. But so yeah, that I'm excited about. I got that done finally. I do need to desolder and lift it back out because here's why. I got it set in there, got ahead of myself, and I did not drill the holes for my turnouts or my slow motion switch machines. Now I do know there's some spots on this railroad that like these two eventually you're going to get switched. This one is that one. Some of them are, I do know there's one, maybe two turnouts on my railroad that unfortunately I wasn't thinking. Well, I was when I originally started the bottom level. I was telling myself I was only going to do caboose industry ground throws. Okay. Then as time went on, I decided, I want to be able to switch. I don't want people reaching into the scene, basically. I don't want the chance of taking out signals or any details that may be, because while this is going to be a city scene, I'm not going to have a whole bunch of front detail because of thinking if people need to reach in to uncouple and stuff. However, I want enough detail it's what I want. It's for my railroad. So I decided I want to go the route of having switches on the front of the layout. So yeah, I need to get those put in. But anyways, yeah, I forgot. And Jen, I prefer to have the switch machine come up. Well, that's a bad one. That's a spare one. But where it's in the middle here, underneath here. So that way if you don't know the tortoise switch machines, they use a piece of, I want to say it's like between 15 and 20 thousandths diameter piano wire. And that goes right in, I run them in the middle. So that way you don't really see them. You can run them off to the side. However, you still need to drill. They recommend a 1/4 inch hole. I generally drill them a little bit bigger. I like to have a little bit of play. You can run them off to the side, but you still need to drill the hole. And where my turnouts are, you're still, and I've done this. You take a chance of messing up your the throw bar for your points. So I got to desolder and lift it up, or mark where I need the holes, desolder it, lift it up, drill it, and then I can put the stubby crossover back in and resolder it back in. So that was one mistake I got ahead of myself on. All right, so another update I have is, well, we'll start with this one. So I've been building these. I bought a whole bunch of these after the first of the year from a gentleman on Facebook Marketplace. They're Intermountain covered hoppers. And they're kits, but the Intermountains, I forgot how much detailed they are. And I have another one. I'm not sure. I think it's up in Ogundape grain right now. It's same style, but it's a lot of detail. So I've been working on that, getting it built. I still have this side. You can see I've got the stirrups in, and I just got the hand grips put in. This side, I got to do the hand grips, and then obviously the ends and the rest of the brake detail and stuff like that. So as you can see right here, this is an Athearn blue box for my SD40-2 KCS. Nothing in here yet. I've already got it, and this is a very, very, very smooth running locomotive. I took it apart, and I'll show you why here in a bit, but after I took it apart, I ended up taking and putting, even though it was still a smooth runner, I put my grease that I put in for my gears, oiled, put little drops of oil where the bearings or any type of friction point are, just to make sure it's good running. And she still runs beautifully, quietly. The one thing I need to measure, and that is the wheel sets. I want to eventually start upgrading the few Athearn blue box locomotives that I have, which are around 1, 2, 3, 4. I probably got 6 or so that I want to upgrade the wheels to like Northwest Shortline, a little better wheels. So, but what I am doing on this is working on, I decided to put a little bit of detail into this, not super detail it, but enough detail that when you look at it, you're gonna be like, oh, that's cool. You know, I mean, other than, and if you've been in the hobby for a while, Athearn blue box, you know, their locomotives, they like the hand grips or whatever you want to call them. They have places for you to drill, and they actually have simulated rivets where they mount to right below the holes where they should, but they don't put them on. So I started putting them on, and as you can see here, the brass, I'm using brass, and you probably can't tell that much of a difference on video, but that is 20 thousandths 0.020 brass wire, which I started putting them on there, and I'm like, okay, yeah, those look right, but they look a little big. Well, and I have the one up here. Now we're going to go to the back here. Well, first of all, I did some research. I'm going to be doing some lift rings, and those I can't bend myself. I don't have the tools for it. But so I found some. I want to say it's Detail Associates. I had to order. I ordered 3 packs of them because there's 20 of them in a pack, but I'm going to put those on the top as well. And that's about the detail I'm going to do, other than, and I'll show you here what I've done so far. But the hand grips, I realized, I did my research and found out that they're Details West, Details Associates, when it comes to those things, they use 12 thousand, so 0.012 wire. Well, I've been looking for brass. Well, I haven't been able to find 0.012 brass anywhere. So I went to McMaster Car. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's McMaster, MCMASTR.com. It's more of like a industrial business site. Like I'm a truck mechanic. We use it a lot. Great shipping. Believe it or not, they have stuff on there we can use. So, which is, granted, this is stainless steel, but I don't have to worry about it rusting or anything. But 12 thousandths wire. And it came in what they call a 1/4 pound roll. So this is 640 feet. I want to say with shipping, it cost me $16, $18, right? But if you can see, and I know camera don't do much, do you know how many hand grips and rails and stuff like that I can make out of that? So this is more than a lifetime's worth. So I ended up getting it in, and it bent nicely. It doesn't quite bend like brass does. Brass, when you bend it, it'll stay. The stainless steel, once you bend it, it'll bend, but then you have to give it that little extra bend, or sometimes slightly over bend it and then back it to get it to where you want. Overall, I think it's going to be a little more resilient to damage, bumping, like for up top there, the rail I did there. But as you can see, I bent. They're not perfect. I know it. I haven't bent handrails in a very, very long time, probably 10, 15 years, whatever it's been. And so I think pretty good for, having done it for a while. I just got this top one in last night. You can kind of see right there, which you won't be able to see the glue marks and stuff because I am going to put a light weathering on this locomotive. But I took that apart, and I was waiting to do that top one because I need to get my LED lights in the cab and in the back or reverse lights. I'm still trying to figure out, I've said it before, I am not 100% sure what these LEDs I use are made of. So about the only thing I've been able to find that I can make them stick with is hot glue. And that's a pain in the butt because I can't get the nozzle inside the body. I can get it behind here, but it's messy. But the long hood, I can't. And you have to be very, very quick, like you do with, like, say, super glue, squirt it on something and try to get in there. But then you got stringiness. So I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to mount my LEDs in there. But the other thing I did was I put a snowplow on there. I found one, good friend, Benjamin Z. He sent me some pictures of this unit throughout the years it's been, and I found a snowplow that I had already that was close to resembling what I'd found. Took some 20 thousandths brass, bent brake line, and then on the back did a brake line. I just got those painted last night. I still need to put the little glad hand, in a sense, paint it silver for the glad hand on the bottom. So yeah, that's the update. So here we are back at my desk. As you can see, it's in the layout room. So when I don't have to do a lot of work on my computer, but when I do, it is kind of neat to be able to be down here. And if I feel up to it, start trains up and let them run around. But update wise, I just got some of this in, and unfortunately, well, there is a little tag right there. I got it off Amazon. But basically, it is laser and inkjet printer labels. Basically, it's sticker paper. So you can see on the back there, sticker paper. Reason being, I got some of that, and I've been wanting to order it for a while, and I'm going to use it for several things. Number one, some of the kits I've used as an example in my Casey's, which is by Summit Customs. Summit Customs, I think is what it is. Some of the signs were printed on paper like this, and then you took it off there and you put it on the piece and then mounted it, or you can even just mount it straight onto your structure and it looks like a sign because it's good thickness, at least for HO scale, and I'm sure it would work for N and O scale. So I want to do that because I want to be able to do signs. I have a billboard that I got from John O's Junction that I want to be able to change out that every so often, and at some point I'll go into the computer and Microsoft Word, create a document, set up a text box, get the size right to where whenever I want to change it, I just go into that document, put inside the text box, and then I can print it off on my sticker paper and stick it on there. So I'm excited about that, but also I've got a magnetic dry erase board at the other end of the layout. So basically when you walk under and through the gate, right, it's right there. And I have temporarily drawn up and written in the jobs. I don't have all the other information written in, but I have the jobs listed and what I'd like to do. And I've got basically magnet material that's flexible. And I want to be able to take some of this sticker paper and basically print off what I want on the computer, stick it to that on a magnet and put it up there. And then that way stuff doesn't have to be written. Because you know as well as I do, on a dry erase board, all it takes is walking up and you barely bump it and something's erased, right? So, and I don't want to mess with a wet erase board. So I'm going that route. That way I don't have to mess with glues and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, I've been working on getting back. I've gotten caught up on my car cards. Yes, if you see, my stickers, my railroad stickers, because when I ordered those, I ordered 1,000 of them. Anyways, I'm not 100% sure. I like the JMRI thing. I like what it's about, but there's a lot to set up in there. And I've already done a couple miniature operating sessions for a couple industries. Okay. And I need something that will be not universal. Well, yeah, universal, but easy to work with, easy to adjust if I don't want to say do something wrong or make a mistake in operations, but and car cards are the way to go for that. So I'm not sure which route I may go, and it may be one of those things that, yeah, I like the JMRI. I might use JMRI once in a while if somebody comes over and they like doing it that way, or if they prefer car cards, go the car card route. Now, if you looked at some of our previous videos, you see that I've been into 3D printing. I found online car card boxes, right? Printed them off. No, they're not perfect, but in the end, when people are operating, you can see I've got layer lines and stuff just from when it printed, and I've got a couple scratches. That's from me cleaning it up a little bit. And it's what I like about them is I got these little indents, so like I can print off a label, either sticker paper, or I've got one of those label makers. I can put it in there, and if I ever need to change it, I can. I like these boxes. Okay, so they cost me, I think, take out of the time, because this takes about 8 hours to print. I have a 3-card one that I got to try out, and those take about 9 hours to print. Car cards, I'll show you. Car cards, they work perfect. Plenty of space, everything, right? So here's my dilemma. I've seen this before. I like the idea of having sleeves for them. So I don't have to tape the front pocket, right? But also, all you got to do is pull it up, flip it over, drop it down, and put it in, and it kind of protects the car card to some degree. But if you look, it doesn't fit. It fits in like that, but it doesn't fit in straight, because what I'm using is I got them off Amazon. They're basically for a binder, and they're business card holders to put in a 3-ring binder, and they're just a little too wide, okay, for this. I tried on my 3 ones. I printed 2 of these before I realized. I printed the first one, I started the second one before I realized this isn't going to work, right? I mean, I suppose they could, but I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. But anyway, so the 3 ones, I extended the length by about 10%. Still not quite right, but as time goes on, we'll see. So I'm excited about these. I've got 2 of these. I got of the 2 of the 2s, and I got 2 of the 3s printed. I do have singles, 4s, and 5s. The 4s and 5s, I don't know that I'm going to be able to print on my printers. I hope I can, because I don't want to have a bunch of them, but whatever. So yeah, update there. All right, so this video has been long enough. Just want to jump on here and give you guys an update. I'd like to say, if you like what you're seeing here, you like the occasional videos and stuff like that, model railroading, of course, please like and subscribe to us. We're trying to hit that 500 mark. That'll allow us to hopefully do more by hitting that mark, but someday we'll get it. But thank you to those that have liked us or subscribed to us. Thank you. I'd like to point out also Mud Creek Models, MUDD Creek Models. Go over there. Go to mudcreekmodels.com, basically. They're a smaller company, but they got N scale and HO scale wood structure kits. Our good friend Benjamin Z, he actually had them make him KCS, or create a KCS depot that, I guess at one point they had 3 or 4 designs, and all but one of the designs were available by other manufacturers. And he was asking me, Benjamin was, I told him, reach out to Mud Creek Models. They're good people. Sure enough, they worked with him, and they came out with the N scale version of it's called Zahner's Depot. It's now in HO scale. It literally came out Thursday night, I believe it was. They announced that it's available in HO scale. Of course, I seen it like 3 minutes after they posted it. Of course, I had to go get mine. I'm not going to build it. I don't really have a place yet anyways, and really on my layout for a depot. If I do put a depot in, I'm not going to do that one because I'm actually having Frank and Natalie from Mud Creek Models sign the box, and then eventually I'm going to have Benjamin sign the box as well, since he helped them design it, and I'm going to keep it just for my own collector point of view for me. Not that I'm going to sell it. I don't want to, but, and I may end up just buying another one of them and building it if and when I decide to put a depot on my railroad. So yeah, check them out. Listen to our podcast on any of the audio podcasts on any of the major platforms. Spotify, which is where we distribute our podcast from. iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, iTunes, all that. So if you're interested in the audio, it's down to earth. We don't talk on there. We have guests occasionally. I've been trying to get more and more guests. We don't talk about the politics of model railroading. I mean, we do, but not, and we don't do like, oh, this place announced that they're coming out with this loco or this or that. That I leave that to the other podcasts, because there's plenty of other good quality model railroad podcasts out there. I want mine to be different. So we have a lot for, if you're coming into the hobby, you're thinking about getting in the hobby, we have stuff for them. We have people, maybe you've been in for a little bit and you're learning, and we have stuff on there, throughout the episodes. We have stuff for intermediate to advanced modelers. We have guests like Eric, who, if you go check out his channel, War Bonds channel, we have him on several episodes. Benjamin's been on several episodes. We just had the president of the Operation Special Interest Group that just released today, in fact. So go head on over there and check us out over there. Also look us up on TikTok. We're on TikTok as well. I just don't have really the time to do videos as much as I'd like to, and because it takes away, and with me building my railroad, I've got priorities, right? We got to build our railroad. So, and I want to be able to show advancement on this for you guys. So I know I've said this before, I want to do lives, but a lot of times when I'm working on something, a lot of times it's when I get home from work, I'm still in my work clothes, I haven't showered yet, especially like if I'm going to be laying track or something like that. Not that I think you guys really would care. Okay, hey, regular guy, I mean, I have a full-time job. But a lot of times I just don't think about it. And then afterwards, I'm like, I should have recorded that. So I'm hoping to get to doing lives once I get a little farther on the railroad. I'm thinking, because there's a lot of how-to videos, I'm not going to add to the how-to video library unless there's something specific that somebody sees on my railroad, like my grade crossing, working grade crossing. I did a video on that showing what components I used. But outside of that, I'm not going to compete with all the people that have done the how-to videos. What I would like to do is, I'm looking into getting an 8-camera surveillance, the system where I don't really care about the DVR, but where I've got 8 security cameras, basically not for security, but I want a couple for where my hidden track is. I've got one now, but it works okay. But I want to get one. I want to be able to have a couple, 2 or 3 cameras on that. I've got where the track on the upper and lower level here go around the front. And if you're inside here, you can't see it. So instead of chasing it, I do have there a camera in place. It works. It's not the best. I want something a little better. And then I'm thinking about putting, so that would be like 1 camera there, or 1, probably 2 there, 4. So I'll have 3 to 4 extra cameras that I would like. I'm thinking of putting in key places for, say, like my Egremont yard and my Montana yard, and then maybe Ogundape grain or something like that. When I get to that point, I'm going to be posting more videos at that point, on a more regular basis of operating and stuff like that. So I hope you like what you've seen so far. I hope you stick around. I have a lot of plans. I just got to get to those points before I get that far. So, like I said, if you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe. Check us out on our other platforms, Model Railroad Talk. And if you want to reach out to us ever, ideas, questions, whatever, modelrailroadtalk@gmail.com. We will not spam you. We don't spam people. If you send us an email, please give us a few days because we get busy with life and building. And sometimes I have to do a little research for an answer as well. So, but anyways, I want to thank you for watching this longer video, but I'm glad I was able to produce a video for you and get it out here. So, like I always say, keep your train on the tracks.